Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. Today we have another TCR here with Kyle. I think you can see him, it's kind of bright right now, but we are in Anderson, Indiana, and we've got this car here, so we're going to talk about it.
This is a 2008 Honda Civic SI, and I've had it for almost a year. Actually, this is my fourth FA5 SI. I went through a few, and then my wife told me to stop messing around and buy a dream car, and I actually bought an NSX.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and then it was hard for me to want to destroy that car on track, because to me an NSX is something that is unreplaceable, and it's a lot harder to find parts too. So I've always loved this generation of Civic Type R. So I finally, I actually got lucky because now friend Andrew and Ken Swen, KSR Ken, he posted this on Instagram, and I literally sold my NSX in 2 weeks, and then we flew out to California and bought it and shipped it back.
So you sold the NSX?
I sold the NSX to build a Civic.
Oh man.
So when I first got the car, it was pretty sun faded, which is pretty common. The FT2 conversion was done, but it was multicolored. There was a fiberglass hood. They've already did the roof swap, but it was with the like the LX steel. So it just, the overall condition of the body just needed some love. The engine and transmission was 100% stock. I mean, even to the fact that it still had factory cats. But the suspension and how it sits right now is actually dead on with the set of AME tracers. When I first got the car, we got it shipped back over here, and as soon as I got it, I actually shipped it down to our buddy Toppy at Papaya Motorsports, where he then cut the steel roof out and put my one of one, maybe one of two now, Marsh Composites carbon roof that I had prototyped. And on top of that, he also built a custom back half cage for us, and then went ahead and resprayed the whole car as well.
Did the process, the whole build, take longer than you anticipated?
Oh yeah, I mean, because this was through COVID too, so I think they had the car for almost probably like 6 months. And then as soon as I was able to get the car back after everything's been done, obviously I had to spray the cage. It would have been smarter if I did it while I was out of the car, while the car was down there, but you know what, hindsight. Basically, it was kind of like a hurry up, because as soon as we got the car back in January, February of this year, we had auto interest in May, and then Honda meet obviously in July, so I had to get everything together as fast as I possibly could so I could be ready in May. This is a full OEM FT2 conversion, so headlights, front bumper, rear bumper, tail lights, everything was OE. It has Max Racing front lip, wide fenders, side skirts, and then a Voltex Type 1 wing element with KSR uprights and a VIS or Cybon, I can't remember, trunk. And then, what is it, Marsh Composites carbon roof.
The whole, you know, the carbon stripe you were talking about is pretty damn good on that.
It's, you know, and this is the factory, was it Flamenco Black Pearl? There's a lot of blue flake in it. It does, like, you look at it and you're like, oh man, the paint looks really good. You see a little bit of blue into it. But then you got this kind of like weird gray stripe, and I'm like, I mean, you remember back in like, what was it, like mid to like early 2000s, where you'd see carbon, yeah, you know, or even carbon hood, carbon trunk, yep, and then like a black,
yeah, it was
like,
a big thing. Well, they painted the top of the
so it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's something I always wanted to do but never got to do. You know, obviously as you're growing up, making a lot of mistakes, finding the right job, buying a house, all these other things, you know, finally into a position I can now build exactly what I want. So I got really lucky. I mean, I paid a lot of money for a Civic. that needed a lot of work. But if the way I was able to rationalize in my head, because a lot of these FT2 conversions just for the OE parts are like $7 grand. You know, so for me, I was able to rationalize it. And these are all the things that I want to do from an exterior perspective. Andrew and Ken got me pretty far. So I had a really good jump start, at least from an exterior perspective. You know, Ken and Andrew set up the suspension really well. I haven't made any changes to that because I've been really impressed on how it's handled. I do have, you know, all the full components to replace everything at home. I've been kind of, the way I've looked at this is okay, whatever I touch, make sure everything I touch is brand new. You know, we had the exterior done, had everything resprayed, all the seals, the cowl, everything's brand new from Honda. Like I wanted to make sure that I was like, okay, I want to build a car or a platform that's going to last me the absolute longest that I possibly can.
Yeah, that's the thing too about like this generation Civic is like, you're not going to be able to get all those things for an EG or an EK anymore. Yeah. And to be able to do that with a Civic, like you said, you're a brand new cowl. Like, where are you going to get that for, like an EG or something like that?
That you're not going to pay like $1,000 for.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. After months and months of searching for it, you know.
So I have 2 sets of wheels that I run. I have the AME Tracers. It's an 18 by 9.5. Plus 22 in the front, and an 17 by 8 plus 38 in the rear with RT 660s, which everyone seems to love and run. So I have a 255, I think it's like 40 and 35, 18 in the front, and a 225, 45, 17 in the rear. To help with rotation.
Okay. Yep.
And then these are my my other set that I use also for the track are these Wed Sports TC510X. Wait, yeah, TC105X. The same from a size perspective. The only difference is I went with a plus 12 in the front. The whole car is APG, which I got turned on to by one of my old WRX friends, and then kind of did some of my research and saw that NDF Sean Lucas was hawking them, so went and bought a set. 6 piston fronts with a 330 rotor and 4 piston rear with a 304 size.
Have you had the car on track with the stock brakes?
Nope.
Nope. So you weren't able to compare the two?
I wasn't able to compare the two because even then before that, like when I got the car, Andrew had already done the TL Type S swap.
Okay.
Again, I only drove the car maybe 3 or 4 times once I got it back. I didn't even drive the car in California. So I got the car, again, I got the car with everything, with the suspension pretty much done, even though I waited almost 2 years to get everything replaced from hard race as well. So I finally got all those parts, but I don't need to replace them yet. So this has the front bushings have been replaced, rear camber arms, Godspeed coilovers, which is kind of Ken's MO, Swift spring upgrade. It's fairly simple. It is extremely solid though. The thing that a lot of that has to attribute to just the chassis itself. Like if I jack the car up, for example, everything just stays put. Nothing really moves or sags or, you know, does anything really weird.
So you said the engine is stock, right?
Well, it's not stock anymore, unfortunately. Okay. So after the first event, I either popped. We did tear down the motor. Towards the end of the day, I noticed when I pulled the oil cap that I had a little bit of milky, a little bit of that. Yep. You know, oh crap, the head gasket.
Coolant and oil. Yep.
So and what was it? That was the end of May. So I really had a month until Honda meet. So luckily enough, I had a spare motor that only had 70,000 miles. The only downside is I had it completely torn down because I wanted to start building it. Because at the time, I bought a Merc racing supercharger. So I was trying to build a setup for that, but then I was like, I don't want the supercharger. It's too hard to work on these chassis anyway because everything's very confined. You know, got rid of the supercharger, and then just went ahead and just did a complete reseal. We believe it's either in the water, it was in the water jacket, or it was the water pump housing that was actually leaking because the head gasket was completely clean unless it lifted. But I didn't have time to mess around with it to try to figure out. I just had to get ready for the track because it was pretty much a month away. This has a 70,000 mile Z3 that's been completely resealed outside of ARP head studs. Obviously, you know, little drag cartel things here and there. What is it? Fluid dampener. You know, anything that's just going to help increase reliability. Brand new chain set, FD2, 4-piston FD2 ported oil pump. Once that was done and everything was resealed, I threw in. Danny is homies with hybrid, and we want to obviously support all our homies, right? So pretty much ordered the entire hybrid catalog from timing chain tensioner all the way to just an intake. You know, and whatever I could get, whatever worked for my car from hybrid, I wanted to make sure I had it on here to support you know, the homies. So all the basic bolt-ons, I got an ASP header, the 3-inch full race exhaust. Everything on this engine is brand new, from the intake manifold to every single sensor is brand new. I even bought a brand new starter, brand new starter, brand new alternator, like everything was brand new from Honda.
You just wanted.
I just wanted to, because I figure, you know, if you're going to go through all this work, you know, why put used sensors on? You know, I keep the used sensors obviously for, you know, backups in case something does go wrong. But I wanted to be able to go out there and just have fun for as long as I possibly could. So I wanted to take whatever I could to make this the most reliable setup, because again, I've blown a Subaru up on track, which is, you know, I got a lot of good, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but everyone seems to think that's what Subarus do. But you know, I got 50,000 miles out of a tuned car. For a Subaru, I feel like that's really good, especially pushing it almost double what it was capable of.
Did you eventually get the car tuned at all?
I did, actually, Mikey spec.
Cool.
Oh, Mikey up in Chicago. I think everyone knows him. So
tuned my car too.
He's phenomenal. Like he came down here a few years ago and tuned Danny's hatchback, Philip's hatchback, a couple of our other buddies, and so now it's just like, you know, just keep celebrating, keep working with the homies, you know.
As far as the transmission, what do you got?
Completely stock. The only thing I have done to that is XCD Stage 1 clutch, street flywheel. And then I used the 4-piston APR, like that little fire ring set that they have, you know, because a lot of K-Series has a tendency to, through vibration and wobble, to kind of back out. So I want to make sure that didn't happen.
All right, what do you got going on in the interior then?
So obviously everything's been gutted as much as I possibly could. All airbags are gone everywhere. The full radio is completely gutted, even inside the doors. Everything's been taken out. Next step is obviously cleaning up the wire looms and removing a lot of the wiring that no longer needs to be there or exist. I want to cut the rear deck. So PCI, adjustable rails, Recaro, Profi, the SPGs, what is it, XLs, because I'm a bigger boy. Works bell, quick release, and hub, chasing J's, all their hardware. Actually, if you look on the outside of the car, there's chasing J's everywhere as well. Same thing with the engine bay. And then an OMP steering wheel, OMP 6-point harnesses, ASR reels, and again the cage, which we had gusseted into the B-pillar for a little bit more chassis rigidity, which was Papaya Motorsports.
Didn't even notice that.
I figure if you're going to have a custom cage made, at least go a little extra, right? I just wanted to make sure it was.
For sure.
Obviously, you know, going with the hybrid theme of everything. We have a hybrid, I think V2 or V3. I'm not sure where they're at now on it, but it's their newest shifter.
They've got so many coming out now.
You know, and it's funny too. Like, so that's a Battlecraft shift knob, which I think was their first generation that actually came with the car, and I kind of wanted to keep it in there to pay respects to Andrew, who owned the car beforehand. I think I have like 14 other shift knobs, which is like one of those silly things I think we all do, right? Oh, this shift knob's a great deal. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. You know, so it's one of those little things that you know, you kind of collect for whatever the day is. It's almost like a pair of Nike shoes now. But I really like the Battlecraft that's in there. And again, it's just, you know, I really respect Andrew for what he did and to this car, and then, you know, obviously selling it to me. And then we've cultivated a relationship outside of that as well. So it's just kind of my little high five to him saying thanks.
Cool. I have the same shift knob in my car as well. So I was lucky enough to be able to get my hands on one of them. Because, you know, as soon as they drop a batch of them, they're gone like in seconds.
It's a theft deterrent too. You know, if you ever have to just pull it off and throw it at somebody. So.
Yeah. Kyle, how long have you been tracking cars for?
I guess you could say 4 years, mostly pretty much all at Gingerman.
Describe what your first track day was like, leading up to it, during it, after it.
So I'm an over-preparer. I have lists, Excel spreadsheets, all that good stuff of the parts that are on cars to keep track of, you know, when they were installed, what the costs were at the time, just whatever I can to make sure, like a logbook basically. You know, at the time, I had a 2017 Subaru WRX that I had fully prepared. What was it? I think I was like 400 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque on E85. Pretty much gone through the entire car. Honestly, I got tired of just having a fun car that I built for the track that I never tracked. So I just happened to sign up for an auto interest day at Gingerman for Labor Day. I posted something on Facebook, just, you know, hey, I'm finally doing something for myself, right? And my buddy Philip was like, hey, we're going too.
Hey, there you go.
And I was like, hey, cool. You know, like, he's like, you can camp with us. And I was like, all right, cool. So instead of just being a loner at the track, you know, like I already knew that I had at least one, you know, friend there. And then come to find out, it was the whole group that I have here today. You know, and that was, I think that was 3 years ago actually. So it's been 3 years I've been tracking. Meeting the boys, camped out, had a really good time. My instructor, John, with auto interests, a very loud, excitable man, basically screaming at me the whole time, like, turn, do this, do that, do that, do this, go baby, go baby, go. You know, so I feel like I really got the most out of my day because I had an instructor that wasn't afraid to really push me. You know, and then not just that, like meeting friends and us cooking out and camping out together and stuff like that. Like tracking your cars, and you've done this before too. Like it's such an experience, man. Like I feel like you know, 50% is on track, but the other 50% is the relationships that you develop 100%. And cultivate.
Yeah.
You know, because it's funny because like a lot of times the first question, you know, when you ask is, well, have you been on track? You know, and if they say yes, it's like automatically that experience transcends, right? And it's like, oh, cool, we have so much in common. You know, it doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you've done, or, you know, what you're building, how much money you make, or where you live. You're like, oh, we've been on track, so yeah, we got everything in common.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, so it was, I'll tell you what, I was nervous, but I never felt scared. You know, and I think a lot of that comes down to street driving your car, getting used to it, feeling comfortable in it, and then just trusting your ability to do something. Like I did bolt checks, I marked all my bolts with the yellow marks. You know, I made sure, like I did everything that I thought that was right. I actually worked for a open wheel team when I lived in California for a little while. So anything I could do, and I've been surrounded by, you know, guys that drift or, you know, guys that drive and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, whatever I can take from them, from their stories, and try to incorporate it into my day to make sure that I'm safe, prepared, and I have a blast. Because if you blow up a car, who cares? If you know, put it to a wall, as long as you're safe. If you come out of it, you know, like who cares? Like I think it's about the moment that you get to spend on track with your friends and chasing each other around. And I mean, it just makes you feel alive.
Yeah, I think it's that saying where it's like you come for the cars, but you kind of stay for the people, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's the relationships that you get out of it is just pretty
I mean, from
insane.
walking tacos with Nick at Honda Meet, or like a couple years ago when I swear there was a tsunami and everyone's tents were blown over and smacking each other. I mean, was it our buddy Brad Brapp? He lost, I think, like 3 easy ups that day. We all just got up the next morning and just kind of laughed about it, you know?
Yeah,
like it was just like, you know, it's just what... You don't get stories like that just like hanging out at home.
What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's trying to track their car for the first time?
Just go. Like literally, I think everyone says this, like literally, brake pads, brake fluid, a decent set of tires. It doesn't have to be, you know, 200 tread wear or 100 tread wear, just a decent set of tires, and just go. You know, a lot of these days really aren't that expensive. Get out there, have a good time, learn about your car. You don't have to have the fastest car. I've seen completely stock Miatas blow the doors off of freaking Corvettes. Just get out there and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big thing too. And I always say this on the channel is that a lot of people get caught up in the build. Yep. And the build ends up sitting on jack stands for years and years and years.
Well, they never drive it because they put so much money into it. Yeah. Or now, like you have 700 horsepower in a Civic, you know, and you say you don't have brakes, but you have suspension and it sits great and it looks beautiful and it's amazing. But it's like now you have to learn to drive the car when the car's so beyond your level,
so beyond your skill set,
and it's so easy to snowball into that. And I think that's what happens to a lot of us too, because we love I think some people love the build, more so than the track, and then they get on track and they're like, oh crap, this scares the shit out of me. You know, because that's normal too. You know, like because even with a completely stock car, you're gonna scare the shit out of yourself at some point.
Yeah, some point you are. It doesn't matter if you got 100 horsepower or 700 horsepower. Like you're gonna scare the shit out of yourself. One of those.
100%.
Outside of you know, your normal track days, have you participated in any competitions like time attack or autocross or anything that's been actually like timed for competition at all?
I mean, we spent a lot of time in my youths around SCCA, but never really. I think I had one event, and that's about it. Got it. And it was just the pylon racing. But other than that, like, no. I got into cars through WRC, and WRC into Formula One, and then from Formula One, you know, is somehow I got into street cars, imports specifically, you know, when I was 18, 19 years old, and now I'm almost 40. You know, and I'm not even sure how I got there, but dude, it's been the best journey. What's your most favorite thing about your car? Whether it's a part or a specific story or something like that? I'm gonna be honest with you, I know this sounds like super cliche, but I love the whole damn car. The whole car? You know, every car is a memory. It's a living memory. Whether you know, it began with you or not. It's like a photo box that's just constantly collecting, you know, moments of time, whether on the track or in the street or in the garage, the times you spent with your friends, you know, putting parts on, busting knuckles, sweating, something dropping on you. It's a photo box of just such great times throughout your life, just these moments. And a lot of times they aren't captured, you know, with a video or with a camera. A lot of times it's just, you know, you get done installing a part and you're just sitting there in the garage, just staring at your car with your hands dirty, you know, just holding on to your phone, just staring at the thing like, I did this. You know, and I love the entire process of getting the car to us, finding the car, because I feel like, man, the universe provides sometimes, man, and that was kind of like one of those moments. The car just happened to come up, and I had that itch, and it's like everything fell together. So like I was supposed to have this car.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm grateful for Andrew selling it to me. I'm grateful for my wife that's been extremely supportive of the shenanigans that sometimes I get us into. I just love this damn car. Outside
of cars and tracking cars, do you have any other interests, hobbies outside of the automotive world?
A lot of my time, I mean, I'm a big giant nerd. I work in IT. So, you know, I'm classically trained as a .NET developer, but I'm a tier 3 or DBA 3. There's so many different terms for it now, but I'm a senior database administrator for a pretty large entity within the federal and state government perspective for like contingent workforce and stuff. So big giant nerd, love math, you know, but you know, I swear, like, you know, me and my wife were always getting into stuff, you know, so she just started her own small business here recently. You know, we did the build out for that. You know, we've both remodeled homes. You know, typical, like, what are we gonna do on, you know, when you're 40 years old? You're gonna get up and you're gonna go to Home Depot on Saturday. You know, and
it's a new spot to be. Yeah.
You know, I haven't got into that hashtag lake life like a lot of my friends have, just because, you know, I see all the stuff that they go through with maintaining a boat. But I don't know, maybe some jet skis are in the future or something like that. I don't know, we'll see.
Cool. Awesome.
I like traveling, so whatever we can do to travel.
Cool. If anyone wants to send you questions or slide in your DMs, where can they reach you at?
So on Instagram, it's @WalkerSmithology. It's pretty much it. I don't really do anything on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or anything. I'm still butthurt about Vines. That's dating myself. Yeah, but if you have any questions about the car, I mean, feel free to slide in. Or, you know, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, you know, looking for inspiration. I love seeing people's builds. I love seeing people succeed. So if you got a cool build, let me see it.
Cool. Any shout outs, anything like that?
Again, Andrew, Ken, you guys have been great and instrumental in this process of building the car. You know, the guys at Chasing Jays, Kyle Quinn at Acura for helping me out swap a motor today. You know, my wife for being incredibly supportive, Danny, Phillip, Johnny, like all the boys, man. Just I couldn't be where I'm at right now without you guys. Don Long supported me a long time ago in the tuner scene when we were working at shops together. You know, so I'm really thankful for the Tony, my boy Tony. Started out with just anybody that I've come in contact when it comes to cars, man. I appreciate you guys. I want you to know I'm trying to do everyone proud.
Cool. All right, that does it for this episode's TCR. Kyle, thanks for coming out and showing us the car and giving us a little bit of insight into your driving experience. If you guys want to stay up to date with my car or see really cool track cars like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and share it because it helps the channel grow. But until then, stay safe, stay smooth, and we'll see you guys in the next video.